Hello, and thank you for joining us this afternoon for our educational webinar on disposable bag fee requirements. There will be a presentation and opportunity for Q&A at the end. Please utilize the question function throughout the presentation, and we will answer them at the end. This session is available in both English and Spanish audio. Click on the interpretation icon at the bottom of the Zoom window and choose either English or Spanish. Next slide, please. This session has presentations available in both English and Spanish. On the top of your screen, you'll see a drop-down that says View Options. Click which screen you'd like to view. Next slide, please. Okay, we'd like to start by introducing the Office of Climate Action, Sustainability, and Resiliency, also referred to as CASR. CASR came together as an office in 2020 and has many teams who work on a range of projects, including buildings and homes, zero waste and circular economy, renewable energy, and sustainable transportation. CASR is funded by the Climate Protection Fund, and this unique fund raises about $40 million a year to eliminate greenhouse gas emissions and air pollution, support climate adaptation, and create new jobs. Next slide, please. We are part of the Zero Waste and Circular Economy team, which focuses on waste reduction programming and strategies to advance Denver's circular economy. Some of the programs we work on include the Bring Your Own Bag program, also known as the Disposable Bag Fee program, Skip the Stuff, and Waste No More. Next slide, please. My name is Natalie Lana, and I am the Disposable Bag Fee Program Administrator. I'm also joined today by Anna Erickson, who's the Disposable Bag Fee Program Coordinator. We've been working with retailers and residents to support the implementation and enforcement of the disposable bag fee since March of 2022. We analyze program compliance and frequently engage in phone, email, and in-person outreach to retailers who may need additional support submitting disposable bag fees. Next slide, please. Like you may have seen in the postcard we delivered to all of our retailers, as well as email reminders, this webinar is part 1 of 3. Today we'll be discussing disposable bag fee requirements. On January 22nd, from 2024, from 4 to 5 p.m., we will focus on Colorado's Plastic Pollution Reduction Act and the statewide ban on plastic bags and foam. Finally, on March 25th, 2024, from 6 to 7 p.m., we will review best practices for our retailers to implement and comply with the disposable bag fee and ban on plastic bags and foam. Next slide, please. So for today's agenda, we will cover what the disposable bag fee is and its origin, the ordinance's definitions, exemptions, and requirements, how retailers can reach compliance, an online eBiz filing tutorial, and other online resources available to retailers. Now I'll pass it to our program coordinator, Anna, to tell you about the disposable bag fee program. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Natalie. So let's start at the beginning. What is the Disposable Bag Fee Ordinance? This ordinance was enacted July 1 of 2021, and it requires that all stores within the city and county of Denver must charge 10 cents for each disposable carryout bag provided to a customer at checkout. The ordinance language is found in Chapter 2, Article 20 of the Denver Revised Municipal Code. Stores remit 60% of fees collected to the city and county of Denver on a quarterly basis. Since July of 2021, the disposable bag fee has generated $4 million and is kept in a special purpose revenue fund. Move to the next slide. In December of 2022, Denver's disposable bag fee ordinance was updated to align with the requirements in the state of Colorado's Plastic Pollution Reduction Act, also referred to as the PPRA. This act includes the ban on plastic bags and polystyrene foam containers that will take effect in January of 2024. Denver's ordinance updated their definitions, requirements, and exemptions as needed. We would like to note that localities, like Denver, are allowed to have stricter rules than the state. So our ordinance does have differing exemptions than the PPRA. We will cover what exemptions are included in Denver's ordinance for your reference as a Denver retailer. Move to the next slide. Like we mentioned previously, for every 10 cents a store charges for the disposable bag fee, 60% is remitted to the city and county of Denver. The ordinance outlines allowable uses for the city to use disposable bag fee revenue, some of which include administrative costs, educational campaigns, waste reduction programs, and providing free reusable bags for residents. Of the 40% of fees collected that are retained by the store, these also have allowable uses. Stores may use these fees for the cost of implementation and employee training, educational signage, free reusable bags for customers, and improving their infrastructure to increase plastic bag recycling. Move to the next slide. You may be wondering why there is a charge on disposable bags. This ordinance and the fee are meant to inspire changes in customer behavior and encourage customers to remember their reusable bags when shopping, so they don't have to pay the fee. Overall, this ordinance is aimed at reducing how many single-use carry-out bags, like plastic and paper bags, are being distributed to customers. Because the production of paper and plastic bags cause an unnecessary strain on the Earth's natural resources, reducing their use will help protect Denver's environment and waterways, given single-use carry-out bags are common environmental pollutants and are often collected during community cleanup efforts held throughout the city. We'll move to the next slide. Now we will cover some of the definitions included in the ordinance. The ordinance defines a disposable bag, except as provided in section 2-414.5, as any bag other than a reusable carryout bag that is provided to a customer by a store or retail food establishment at the point of sale for the purpose of transporting goods. Next slide. The ordinance defines store as a grocery store, convenience store, clothing store, or any other type of retail establishment at which carryout bags are traditionally provided to customers. We'll do the next slide. The ordinance defines the disposable bag fee as the fee of 10 cents imposed by the city and county of Denver and is required to be paid by each customer making a purchase from a store for each disposable bag used during the purchase. Next slide. Now, what is a reusable bag? It is a bag that is specifically intended for multiple reuse and is made of cloth, fiber, or other fabric that can be cleaned and disinfected regularly. A reusable bag must have handles, a permanent tag, and the capability of carrying 22 pounds or more, and capable of being used 125 times or more. Next slide. The Disposable Bag Fee Ordinance does list exemptions. The disposable bag fee does not apply to a bag that a customer brings into a store, a bag that is provided to a participant in a federal or state food assistance program, or a bag that is used to contain bulk items like nuts or candy, or other items where dampness may be a problem, like fresh or frozen foods. Next slide. The disposable bag fee does not apply to a bag used to protect purchased items from damaging or contaminating other purchased items when placed in a disposable or reusable carry-out bag. Newspaper bags, garment bags, and bags used to contain prescription drugs, and bags sold in packages containing multiple bags are also exempt from the disposable bag fee. Next slide. More examples of exemptions for stores that do not need to charge the disposable bag fee are a business whose primary purpose is not retail, such as a restaurant or a salon. Also, stores may choose to provide only reusable bags to their customers, which would qualify for an exemption, and the store would be removed from the program. Next slide. Now, what is required for disposable bag fee compliance? All stores must charge 10 cents for each disposable bag distributed to a customer at checkout and must display signage to encourage customer awareness, as shown as the poster here. Stores are not allowed to pay this fee on behalf of the customer, because the purpose of this ordinance is to inspire behavioral change for customers to bring reusable bags when shopping. A store must also display on a customer's receipt the total amount of fees charged for each bag, and as stores collected disposable bag fees are not considered revenue and not included in sales tax calculations. Stores must remit 60% or 6 cents of each 10 cents of their total fees collected to the city and county of Denver on a quarterly basis. Next slide. So, how should you as a store implement the disposable bag fee? One of the first things you must do is adjust your registers or POS systems to reflect a disposable bag fee of 10 cents to be used for transactions and tracking the necessary information you need for a quarterly filing. Make sure you know which bags are exempt, like bags provided to customers participating in federal or state assistance programs. Alert your customers that you are required to charge the disposable bag fee, and train all of your employees that they should always ask if a customer needs a bag during checkout. Encourage customers to bring their own bags so they don't have to pay the fee, and make sure to keep detailed records of how many disposable bags are provided to customers for reporting purposes. I'll now pass it back to Natalie to tell us about how stores should submit their disposable bag fees. And we'll move to the next slide.
Thank you so much, Anna, for that lovely description of our program. Now we'll discuss how a store should remit disposable bag fees. Like Anna mentioned, on a quarterly basis, a store must remit 60% of disposable bag fees collected to the city and county of Denver. To do this, a store must total the number of disposable bags that were sold to customers at checkout and multiply the total amount of bags by 0.06 to calculate their total remittance owed to the city and county of Denver. Stores must submit this information in a quarterly filing form, which is due 20 days after the end of a fiscal quarter. Quarterly due dates are as followed. Quarter 1 bag fees are due on April 20th. Quarter 2 disposable bag fees are due on July 20th. Quarter 3 disposable bag fees are due on October 20th. And Quarter 4 disposable bag fees are due on January 20th. The quarterly filing form may be submitted online through Denver's eBiz portal or through paper forms sent in the mail. Any quarterly filing form that's submitted after the due date is considered late thus accruing a late penalty of 10% of the remittance owed and an interest of 1% of the remittance owed for each month the filing form is late. A late filing form will be considered incomplete if the appropriate late penalty and interest are not paid, and the account will be considered delinquent. Next slide, please. How should a store fill out a paper form? You may receive a similar looking form in the mail if you've elected to do so with the Treasury. We've split this form in two for viewing purposes. Here are all the relevant sections you must fill out. At the top, you'll see a section to enter your business name, account number, phone number, primary business location, and period end date. The paragraph here summarizes requirements for stores to charge disposable bag fees and remit 60% to the city. It also includes the quarterly dates as we described in the previous slide. Also included in this paragraph is an explanation that if you do not provide disposable bags, you must request an exemption on our website. Next section. This next section includes instructions on how to complete this form, which we will also be going through today. This next section, you'll see information about filing the disposable bag fee remittance and other items online through Denver's eBiz portal. Next. At the bottom half of the form, you'll again fill out your account number, period end date, and the due date for the respective quarter. In box A, you'll put the total amount of each bag type used for the given quarter. Next. You will be prompted to sign and date this form to certify that the information provided here is accurate. Next. Finally, you'll calculate the tax owed and any penalty or interest that may apply if the form is filed after the due date. Next. The address at the top of this form is the mailing address where forms will be accepted. And please always make your checks payable to the manager of finance if you choose to file with a paper form. Next slide, please. If you're submitting a paper form, there are two different ways it can be submitted. Firstly, you may mail the form to the address listed, which is the same as the address highlighted previously in the top right corner of the paper filing form. Secondly, you can drop it off in person at the Tax Services Office in the Wellington E. Webb Municipal Building, located at 201 West Colfax Avenue. You can find tax services on the first floor next to Russell's Convenience and Subway. Next slide, please. Now we invite any participants in the Spanish-speaking room to view the screen shared in the English room. We're going to do a tutorial for eBiz. So, you can avoid paper filing forms by submitting your quarterly filing form through Denver's eBiz website. This is the website businesses commonly use to pay other taxes, like sales tax or occupational privilege taxes. The website is denvergov.org/ebiztax, and we'll now cover a full tutorial for you on eBiz. As we go through, please feel free to send a message in the chat if you have any questions, and we will be fielding these. Okay, so now we're going to enter the eBiz website and give you a full tutorial. Okay, so like I mentioned, to get to the eBiz website, you'll visit denvergov.org/ebiztax. This is how you access the online portal. If you'd like to create an account for an online business, you can create an online eBiz account by scrolling down and click Online Access for Existing Business. If your business has more than one location in Denver, click on Register to File for Multiple Businesses. For the purpose of this presentation, we'll show you what it looks like to register for online access for an existing business. To register, you'll be prompted to enter your taxpayer ID and a letter ID, which can be found on any legal documentation sent by tax services within the last 18 months. And Anna, if we're able to bring up an example of what this will look like. Thank you. As you can see on the right side of this letter, there is a letter ID that begins with an L and is followed by 10 digits. The taxpayer ID is also listed here. Now we'll go back to eBiz. Okay, and so Anna is going to enter that information so we can see the next steps to set up your online account. Thank you, Anna. Once this information is entered, you'll be prompted to create a username, enter an email you'd like the account linked to, and create a password. You'll also be prompted to select a security question and opt out of paper returns if you no longer wish to receive these in the mail. You may also opt in for email communications to receive reminders for quarterly due dates. Now let's return to the eBiz homepage to learn how to file your disposable bag fee quarterly filing form online. Okay, now that we're back on the homepage, let's enter your eBiz username and password to log into your account. Okay. Your main dashboard will show a summary of all tax-related activities. You will also see the Action Center, which highlights all outstanding items that require attention. If you scroll down, you should be able to see the disposable bag fee section, which will include a summary of the returns you have filed and the returns that have not yet been filed. On our test account, you can see that we have not yet filed the return for September 30th, 2023, which was due on October 20th, 2023. You'll see a button to file now. Click on this. This page provides resources to learn about how to file this form online and how to request an exemption if necessary. Here's where a store enters the total number of disposable bags provided to customers during Q3 2023, which includes July, August, and September. Once the total number of bags are entered, the total remittance owed will be calculated. If a store enters 0 bags, they will be prompted to submit an exemption request form. If a store files 0 bags without completing an exemption request, they will be considered delinquent and will be subject to late penalty and interest and additional enforcement actions. Now let's go back and enter some bags. Okay, so Anna, if you can enter an amount of bags, we will see that the total calculation will be generated. And they will be prompted to calculate late penalty and interest that may apply. As we mentioned, the late penalty consists of 10% of the remittance owed and can be calculated by multiplying the total amount owed by 0.10. I'm going to do that calculation now. The interest consists of 1% of the total remittance owed for every month or partial month the remittance is late. To clarify, if a filing form is submitted one day past the due date, it will require interest. For example, this form right here is the form that was due on October 20th. Because it's past October 20th now, we will have to calculate interest. Please note, if penalty interests are not complete, the filing form is considered incomplete, and your account will be considered delinquent and subject to further late penalties, interest, and additional enforcement actions. Once penalty and interest have been entered, click Next. On the next page, you'll see a summary of your disposable bag fee filing. If everything looks right to you, click Next. Okay. You will now see a page that includes a disclaimer about the upcoming ban on plastic bags. If you understand that plastic bags will be banned in the state of Colorado beginning in January 2024, and businesses may no longer provide plastic bags to customers following June 1 of 2024, select this box and click Submit. You'll now be prompted to enter your login password to certify that all information entered here is correct. Once you confirm that that information is correct, you'll receive a confirmation that the data has been received. However, this is not the end. You'll see a notice that says, "Important, your transaction is not complete. Choose a payment option below." We recommend choosing to pay online because this is the most streamlined and efficient payment method. Click Pay Now to submit your online payment. You can submit payments with a credit card or an e-check. So we'll select credit card for today. And click Next. Here you will see a summary of all payments owed. Review this for correctness and click Pay Now. Here you will see a summary of all, You will see one more confirmation to make sure all payment information is correct. Click Submit once this information is reviewed. Here you'll see that we have filed multiple disposable bag fee forms and not paid for any of them yet because this is a test account. So you can pay for all of your previous disposable bag fee forms all at once if you want to. We don't recommend, but we're going to click Submit. Okay, here you'll enter your credit card information to complete this payment. And once you submit this, you should receive a confirmation email once the payment is complete. So now let's return to the eBiz homepage to learn about sending messages to tax services. If you're having trouble accessing or completing the disposable bag fee filing, here's how to send a message to the tax team. Once we're at the homepage, you return to the tab that says More. Hover over the box that says Messages and click on the button that says View Messages. Next, you'll click on the button that says Send a Message. You'll be prompted to select which account your message is related to. If the disposable bag fee is set up in your account and you need help with a specific filing period, you can select which period your message is related to. You'll then be prompted to select a category for your message. If you're having trouble submitting a payment, select Payment Question. If you would like to request a refund, select Refund Question. If the disposable bag fee is not set up on your eBiz account, please include this information in your message. Here's an example of a general message you can send. Thank you, Anna. Okay. Great. And then once you have completed your message, you'll press Submit, and that will reach out to our tax team. Okay, now let's review how to see your account information. You can view your account information by clicking the icon at the top right corner of the screen that looks like a person, and then you'll click My Profile. Please be sure that the contact information here is current. If your contact information, this is the contact information we use for all account outreach. If you need to update your account address, phone number, or email, please contact Tax Services through submitting a message on eBiz or by calling their helpline provided at the bottom of the page. Okay, that will conclude our guide to eBiz. Thank you so much for watching, and we're now going to return to the slide deck.
I'll pause here. I didn't see any questions come through in the Q&A for folks, so
We do
at the
have,
end.
sorry, Anna, we do have one hand raised.
Okay.
Yoonhee Lee, I'm going to allow you to ask a question. Okay, looks like maybe they're not able to. Yoonhee, if you want to ask your question in the chat, we would be happy to answer that. Okay, so now we can return to the slides. Okay, and we'll go to the next slide. So what happens if a store does not submit their disposable bag fees on time or correctly? Our team examines the compliance of each store and location within the city and county of Denver on a quarterly basis. A store is considered delinquent through a few different conditions. If a quarterly filing form is not received, if a quarterly filing form does not include bag counts, if a quarterly filing form does not include a payment, or if a payment submitted through a quarterly filing form is less than the payment owed. Stores that remain delinquent are subject to enforcement actions by this team and may receive citations up to $999, possible locks on their business license renewals. If you're ever having difficulty with submitting your quarterly filing form in the proper manner, the Disposable Bag Fee team is available to help you. Our phone number and email are listed here for your reference. Next slide, please. Our website is always available for you to reference. Once you reach denvergov.org/bringyourownbag, make sure to click on the Disposable Bag Fee for Businesses section. Next slide. On this webpage, you can find many resources, including the link to eBiz if you select Remit Fees online. You can also request an exemption, pay a citation, request a refund, and access the retailer guide here. Next slide, please. When you click on the retailer guide, it will bring you to these materials that are free resources for you to download and print to use in your store to help educate customers and employees. Next slide, please. Okay, we'd now like to open the floor to questions. If anybody would like us to elaborate on the disposable bag fee or has any questions, it looks like we have one.
So looks like Victoria asked, are cigar stores exempt from the bag fee? A small plastic bag is needed to keep cigars fresh with moisture. Victoria, that's a good question. So the disposable bag fee, applies to a carry-out bag. So if a cigar is already pre-packaged with a bag, containing the product, that's how it's made. That's not considered a carryout bag. But if a customer is, purchasing a cigar and it's, in a plastic bag that they carry out with or a paper bag, that is the bag that you would have to charge with for them to carry out their purchase.
Good question.
And we can also, if folks have specific questions to eBiz, we're more than happy to reshare that screen for folks and pull that up if you had something specific there. As always, if there's a question that you have that comes up later on while you're filing, you know, that you didn't have right now and you'd like our assistance with, we're always available to help via email or phone, whichever you prefer.
Absolutely. Okay, seeing no questions at the moment, I think we can move on to the next slide. So to close out today, we want to remind you that on January 22nd, 2024, we will be discussing Colorado's Plastic Pollution Reduction Act and how stores within the city and county of Denver must comply with the ban on plastic bags and expanded polystyrene or foam. The registration for this next webinar is available on our website and will be sent in the chat. And I just sent the registration link for our next webinar, which will be in January, in the chat. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. That's all we have for you. We can stay on a bit longer for questions. But thank you so much for joining. I really hope this was helpful. And again, if you have any additional questions, we provided our contact information here, and please do not hesitate to reach out.